Grab your popcorn, rip that ticket, get in that seat, lickety-split. Go watch a movie! Hello, everyone, and welcome to Go Watch a Movie, episode 144. I'm Kelvin.
And I'm Robert.
This is the start of a fun and special month. It is Director's Appreciation Month, in which Robert and myself chose a director that we feel we enjoy and like, and we like their stuff. And we chose two of their movies, and we're going to switch on and off and each do one of their movies for the month of August. And I'm excited to no end. Clearly, from what I'm wearing, this very hot and sweaty jersey, because the lights are shining on me, you know mine is Kevin Smith. Let me do a little history here, because I owe this man a lot. He's the reason those of you who are watching right now, because back in 2009, I got my first iPhone. I don't know what model it was, but I discovered a little something called podcasts. And this was early in the podcast revolution, or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, oh, what are these? Oh, they're little radio shows, basically, unfiltered. So I was like, oh, Kevin Smith, I've seen Mallrats and Clerks. And yeah, I'm probably sure I have seen the others, but those were popped into my mind back then. And I was like, okay, well, let's give this a shot. And the laughter, the vocal theatrics, the theater of the mind that him and Scott Mosier put on just thrilled me and tickled me and inspired me to no end. Not to mention his inspirational, anybody can do this. It doesn't take, you don't have to be a millionaire. You can just grab a microphone, your buddy, and go. And it took a couple years, but here we are. And yeah, so that is a short history of why I appreciate this man so much. But it's not just that. I, of course, love the work he puts out. He's different. His voice stands out for me. I know some don't like him or his newer stuff. But I am a big fan. And my favorite movie of his, and I know this will be shunned by some and hated by some, is Mallrats. I can relate. I want to talk to a 90s person who didn't spend countless hours wandering the mall for whatever reason, who be looking for a girlfriend just to hang out with friends. It just happened, So, but yeah. Yeah, so that will be my first movie for this episode. But we're going to continue things like normal because there is some Kevin Smith news. So here's a little bit of entertainment news. Kevin Smith is in the news today. Well, I guess earlier this week. His Green Hornet animated series has been greenlit. He wrote a script for it a long time ago. I think before the Seth Rogen movie. But yeah, it's been greenlit. It's happening. And it's going on top of all the other crap he has to do. Series, et cetera, et cetera. You a fan of Green Hornet?
He's alright, I guess. I mean, he's not my favorite, but he's alright.
I always felt like Kato was like the actual hero of Green Hornet.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I think that Seth Rogen movie kind of makes fun of. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he does. I actually read the comics, so I'm not sure if he's going to stray from those issues and make a new script, or if he's just going to translate that to animated. We will see. Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is happening on Amazon. Not the one we know. This is the prequel of all prequels. We're going way early in the Lord of the Rings franchise. I know how you feel about prequels, but it's Lord of the Rings, so that has to change something, right?
No, not really. It's still the same. Prequel to prequel. Especially if they have the same characters in it, because you already know what's going to happen. You know, there's no, what if they get, like, into a situation where, like, they could be killed, right? You already know what's going to happen. There's no cliffhanger. There's no surprise. There's no suspense. There's just, oh, yeah, they're going to be fine. That has always
been my issue with prequels, especially the Solo story. Like, I was like, oh, never seen these guys before. They're all going to die.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, on that same note, I guess, will include the Sauron, the elf leader. I'm gonna put the name. Agent Smith, the elf leader, and of course the White Witch, who's ultimate power. You remember her?
Yes, I love that scene. That was one of my favorite scenes.
They have been announced that they will be featured in this new Amazon series, which they are spending a lot of money on. So I'm looking forward to it, even though I know where it's leading to. This is thousands of years before that. I want to say thousands before what we know of Lord of the Rings. We saw The Hobbit. We saw Frodo's story. Now we're going to go find someone else's story. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And that person could still be alive. We don't know. You know, that's the fun of Lord of the Rings. Like, it could be some super cool elf that actually we saw in the movie, but he was just like a little side character. You know what I mean? Because that was so long. So I'm a little excited for it.
Nah, I'm still
Say nothing? Okay.
No, I need new stuff. I need to be thrilled. I've seen too much, so I need something new. I can't just watch the same thing over and over again.
I hear you. Well, that'll bring us to let's discuss the showbiz. So what I feared has come to pass, my friend. That is a sigh of sadness. We talked about this once before. Mulan. Big budget movie. They spent a lot of money on it. They've been holding it off to try and wait for theaters, but I guess they cannot wait anymore. It's going to be released on Disney Plus. Oh man, all those Disney Plus subscribers just had a burst of joy and happiness. But wait, it doesn't matter if you're subscribing because you have to pay an additional $29.99 to watch Mulan.
Just for that one movie?
Just for that one movie.
Wow. I feel like that's going to turn a lot of people off.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like I'm subscribing to it. That would be like Netflix saying, we released this, let's say, The Old Guard. New movie, big action star names in it. We think it's going to do better than most of the other Disney Plus or Netflix movies we release. So now you got to pay $15 extra to watch The Old Guard. That's what it's equivalent to.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking.
Like,
don't know. Especially during now. I mean, not everybody's working, right? Not everybody's got extra cash flow. Yes, they're getting some assistance.
Cut down.
Yeah, they're getting some assistance, but still, they're getting assistance for things that they need, like, rent and mortgages and food. So to make somebody pay that much for a movie on a subscription service is kind of... Yes. I would almost say it's just downright evil.
Diabolical.
It's just not the right thing to do.
No. And I don't want to badmouth Disney, but I saw this.
I will for you. Because that's ridiculous. That's
Thank you.
That cool.
Yeah, it blew my mind. I'm like, because I'm paying the subscription to be able to watch everything that this service provides, and yet now you're telling me, wait a second, I can't get this movie unless I pay more?
Yeah, what? Because especially after time, everything that's, is going to pop up on there anyway. So you're going to pay to watch it, and then eventually a year down the road, it's going to be there for you to watch anyway. So, yeah, that's not cool. Disney should just reach into their pockets because they're deep and they're full of money, and just give us a free movie. Give everybody a free movie. Be like, you know what? You guys have been having a tough time. The country's in, a state, and so we're just going to give everybody a free month subscription to Disney Plus, which is a good business decision because people get on there and see what it's about. Maybe they'll like it. Who wouldn't have gotten on there before, and then maybe they'll subscribe afterwards. And we're going to give you this. And we're going to give you this amazing movie.
Yeah.
As a bonus. That's how you solve that problem. You take a little hit, and that little hit is going to eventually give you a whole bunch more in return.
And my question is, how are they picking this? Because Artemis Fowl was supposed to be one of their big summer blockbusters, and they chose to just place it on there.
Mm-hmm.
Are they saying Mulan has more value than Artemis Fowl?
Well, I think they probably made it, and then after they made it, they looked at it and they were like, "Oh man, what do we make? It's not as good as we thought it was going to be, but we're going to release it and make some money off it anyway, so we're going to pretend like it's awesome and then tell everybody it's awesome and then they'll go see it just so we can make our money back on it." Maybe they're not doing this with Milan. Maybe they're going to be. Maybe it is better than,
because Milan cost them a lot.
Yeah.
It just locations and actors and so.
Yeah. I wonder why they can't just hold it. I mean, I know I'm not in the business, so I don't know what the legality issues or money issues are. But why can't they just hold it until they can get it in theaters? I don't understand that.
I think
then they own everything anyway, so they should be able to hold something if they want to hold it.
I don't know if we'll just hang on to this. Still has them scared, or what? But I think it's fear. I just don't think they want to lose any more momentum. Well,
they own the Star Wars franchise. They should know about fear.
They own Star Wars, Marvel. Yeah,
they know what fear leads to.
Hate.
Unless Disney wants to end up on the dark side.
Oh,
give us that movie for free.
Give us that shit. I'm just wondering. Actually, I'm gonna put a pin on that thought. It's just it's a awkward, odd decision. I don't think I don't think it's the right choice, but we shall see. I mean, it could break all the records, because a lot of people, there are millions, if not billions, of Disney heads out there who have Disney Plus. I think they just hit a milestone of like 60.5 million subscribers to Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. So if they get even half of that, buying a movie for $30, they're going to do better than it would have done in theaters,
Right.
Normally it's like at the most $15.
That's a big if to get that many people to spend $30. I mean, maybe I'm old fashioned. I don't think spending $30 for a movie is reasonable. If they made the price reasonable, it would be different, slightly. Like 10.
Yeah.
I mean, even to me, even 10 is too much for me. 15 is definitely too much for me. I'm cheap, but 30. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, I guess if I'm already subscribed.
Wait, am I also for that $30 reserving a 4K or a Blu-ray copy of the film when it eventually comes out on disc for free? Am I also getting that? Because then, maybe that's
no, sir, you're subscribed.
No. Sorry, Disney, can't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this unfolds. I mean, all we can do is watch what happens because it's creepy. This just creeps me out. I mean, we were talking about this with like just regular movies coming out on digital first with non-subscriptions, charging $30. So now that they're adding the fact that you're actually subscribing to this and you're paying $30. Anyway, we'd love to hear what you think on that, but that'll bring us to trailers. You first or me, sir?
I'll jump in there.
All righty.
Speaking of Disney, I am so glad that this new movie called Pinocchio is not by Disney. I'm sorry, but I feel like I'm Disneyed out in some respects, especially with the live action remakes of, Disney classics. And let me also say, yes, I do love all those Disney classics. Those old cartoons were again part of my youth. So yes, I grew up loving all that stuff. However, there does come a point when you get oversaturated with a thing and you need a new take, a new vision, a new something. And this is an example of us getting that. It's a Pinocchio movie that isn't by Disney. It looks a little weird, but I like that it looks weird. It looks a little different. I've heard comments that it looks kind of like, Del Toro or, what's the guy? I'm forgetting his name.
Pan's Labyrinth person?
Yeah, well, him and then Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, thank you. I've heard comments say it looks like that. I don't think it really looks like that. I think it looks like its own thing. Maybe it's somewhere in between, but not like those two, because those two are very stylized, and when you see their movies, you just know it. This just seems like a weird, creepy sort of thing, but it's going to have like a really big heart. You know what I mean? Like, it looks strange, but I feel like it's going to have a really big heart, and it's got all kinds of whimsical things in it, like a little animal, half animal, half, human-looking creatures. It's got a giant fish that swallows somebody whole. I mean, it has all the elements that I kind of want out of a fantasy movie. Mm-hmm. But, it's not Disney.
The big whale? Big whale's in it?
Yeah,
oh, awesome.
There's a big fish, big thing. I don't know if it's. It looks like a mutant, crazy looking whale, but yeah, there's a big giant.
I was gonna say, because they do get eaten by a whale in the OG.
So
version.
yeah, I'm just excited to see something with a new take on a classic.
So does it have the scene where they get turned into donkeys and stuff?
I didn't see that in the trailer, but it might be in there. There's some interesting scenes. Okay. You see some animalistic creatures with humanoid.
No strings. Sorry.
And I'm hoping there's no singing. Well, there might be the occasional thing. Like, I know there's some plays and stuff, so there might be the occasional musical number, but I don't think they're gonna drive it home like a Disney film would.
No singing, Precious.
So that's my trailer. I'm happy for a non-Disney Pinocchio.
Did you see a Gemini? I have not seen this trailer, so I'm asking a lot of questions. Is that like a Gemini?
You're gonna have to watch the trailer, sir.
Okay, I'll check this out. My trailer is Mallrats. I went back and I had never seen the trailer for Mallrats. Came out in 95. I went back and I was like, okay, I'll watch this thing.
How did it hold up?
It would not have made me go see this movie.
Yeah, that was trailers back then, though. They didn't quite have they didn't master the art back then.
It's like, this is Brody, and these are all his friends. And it just goes through clips of him and his friends and all that jazz, and then it's like, and here's Jay and Silent Bob. So yeah, I mean, you guys can watch this one. I just thought it was a fun little thing to do. Go back and watch this trailer from so long ago. And then I looked up what movies came out during this year, and good Lord, 1995 was stacked of movies, like Waterworld, which I know bombed, but still, is a classic to me. Bad Boys, just the list goes on and on. They had a lot of freaking movies that came out then. But, yeah, the trailer, of course, is going to be floating over my head like it always is as I talk about it, but I urge you to check out that trailer for Mallrats. That will bring us to the movie. Watch about it, if you would not mind.
T.S. Jeremy London and his best friend, Brody, Jason Lee, take a trip to the mall after their girlfriends break up with them. T.S.'s girlfriend, Brandy, Claire Forlani, is participating in a dating game show at the mall, which was the initial cause of their breakup. Meanwhile, Brody's ex, Renee, Shannon Doherty, has begun dating sleazy store manager Shannon. Ben Affleck, T.S. and Brody seek out ways to ruin the game show, hunted all the while by Brandy's father, Jared Michael Rooker, directed and written by Kevin Smith.
Thank you, Watchbot. Mallrats, 1995. Kevin Smith's sophomore. Yeah, that's right. We're sophomore film. I haven't been in school for a while. His second run at things. Clerks, of course, being what launched him. This was his second take. A lot more money. Studio behind him. Just a shit ton of stars. Jason, well, they weren't stars at the time, I guess, but Jason Lee, Ben Affleck, Shannon Doherty, just, the list goes on and on and on of Michael Rooker, of people who were in this movie. And, like I said, it is not his best one, but it is my favorite because of nostalgia and the chords it hits in me. And like my youth was spent in the mall, and I don't think it was because of this movie, because like I said, I didn't see this until later in life. But I just still feel like I can relate to it. And like I said, every culture, every walk of life, you spent some time in a mall doing something. Well, not now. Kids were like, what the fuck's a mall?
I was just going to ask you, is that still even a thing? Do kids, because I'm a grumpy old man, I have no idea what's going on out there. Do kids still go to the mall and just hang out?
I don't think so. I don't think kids go further than their screen. They can Google them.
Yeah, I mean, I did that. I mean, I went mainly for like the video arcade and then like the food court, and you know, I didn't. There wasn't a comic book store in my mall, but what's that?
That would have been awesome.
There was a bookstore that sold comics, which we always just hovered around that one little rack. But
right?
Yeah, it was like that's my childhood.
Yeah,
going to the mall.
It just brings back those great memories for me. Like, and I was kind of like Brody, like not to the extreme that he was. Like but I knew what was going on in my mall when it was going on, because I was there so much. I would like ask my mom for X amount of money to take the bus there or to get dropped off there, and it was just an adventure, just an event that happened. What do you think about this one, sir?
This is a pretty fun film. I know for his sophomore effort, it wasn't as well received as his original Clerks. However, I gotta say, I watched this when it came out way back in the day. I didn't really think too much of it. I thought it was cool, but I wasn't like, oh man, I'm a huge fan of this, But then after rewatching it, it made me take a trip down memory lane. It really did open up those passageways in my head, and I just went back and I remembered stuff that I hadn't thought of in a really long time. I mean, just seeing like the styles, for instance. I mean, I remember like, oh my god, like that was popular at the time. I didn't really realize why it was popular, but I do remember, those types of things being worn and those types of things being done. And it was just weird. It was just like, it was like a trip into my past.
Yeah. That's what I got too. I was like, and granted, like I said, I did not see this in 1995. I think I was 11 in 1995, but, I was experiencing this when I did see it. So it was, I got all those feels, and I got like, one thing I did notice about this film, upon this watching of it, and I hadn't seen it for a while, the dialogue, like, yes. And that's one of the reasons I love Kevin Smith, is because of his dialogue, but they don't talk like kids who are in the situations they're in.
Exactly.
Should talk.
I was like, yes. Awesome point. I was actually going to bring this up. That's it, for some people. It put them off because they didn't sound like normal kids. I mean, a lot of critics were like, "Well, they don't sound like kids." I mean, but there were probably people out there that intelligent, able to carry those types of conversations. Yep. But it just was off-putting. But I want to point out, this came out in 1995.
95.
3 years later, what do we get? We get a TV show called Dawson's Creek. And the kids did not talk. did not talk like kids talk. They talked like sophisticated adults. And everybody was like, well, this is ridiculous. But it blew up and people loved it. And I'm just saying, this came before. I'm not saying this is where they got the idea from it. I mean, Kevin Smith may have gotten it from somewhere else. I don't know. But isn't that weird? We watch this. It doesn't exactly, isn't a huge success. And then just a few years later, you get a show with people talking exactly like he was writing 3 years prior, if not more.
Yeah.
And then, boom, it's popular. It's a huge hit. So, I mean, it looks like somebody may be ahead of their time. That's all I'm going to say.
I think he was. I will say this. He does get a lot of his influences from John Hughes. Mm-hmm. Winky face. But yeah, so, but even, I think John wrote more like the youth would talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and I know Kevin was probably college age, I think, when he wrote this one, but still, like, I truly, I want to believe, I know for a fact, like, I've heard, him actually play recordings of himself in his youth. And he talked like this. Mm-hmm. He's always been kind of a intellectual. Actually, I shouldn't say kind of, but that sounds like I'm dissing the man's intelligence. But yeah, I don't think in my youth, if I was at a certain age and saw this, I would have liked it because of that reason. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would have been and there are potty humor. There's enough potty humor in it to where if you can't get the dialogue, that'll get you. But still, at the same time, like, I would have been like, what the fuck?
I mean, this definitely wasn't for young people. I mean, I know he tried to, I think for me anyway, like he melded the style that he has, like you saw in Clerks, obviously, and he tried to meld that. And I don't know if that was because of the studio, but he tried to meld it with like a teen, drama or something.
Yeah.
It just wasn't some guys hanging out in the store or whatever. This was more specific. This was more like geared towards that, group of people. But it had his voice coming out of everybody, So it made for a really unique experience. It wasn't like any of the other movies like that at its time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and then the characters, like, they all help so much because, like, do you consider this TS's movie or Brody's movie?
You know what? I enjoyed Brody more. I feel like he was a stronger character, even though I think he wasn't. Well, you know what? I feel like if it wasn't for Brody, I mean, it wouldn't have been as successful for me. I mean, yeah, TS was okay, but he was just kind of the pretty boy who was there to be pretty and have the ridiculously pretty girlfriend. And then it was, did you catch that? And then Jason was just like, Jason's character was just like, he was the wisecracker. And they even pointed that kind of out at the end of the movie, or towards the end of the movie, where the executives were like, man, this show sucked, but you were awesome, So I kind of got that hint from that.
Yeah. I like going into it with think it's more of TS's movie because it kind of circles around him getting his girl back. Mm-hmm. But Brody, like you said, Brody does steal the show 100%. And the trailer actually points out that, like I said, this is Brody and these are his friends, so I'm assuming it was meant for Brody to be the character. Do you
feel like, because Kevin Smith, when he wrote this, do you feel like he was channeling himself through Brody more so?
Yes.
And that's probably why he was such a strong character.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, like, because he said, I've listened to way too much Kevin, but he said he always wanted to be that wisecracking guy. Like, even
he was on the inside.
He said he saw himself as more of a, oh wow, the Clerks guy's name's just went from my head. But he saw himself more as a funny one, but that ended up being really his friend Brian Johnson, who is Steve Dave, in Mallrats. Tell him, Steve Dave. Which they also have a podcast on the Smodcast Network. But Yeah, so but clearly, yeah, like you just said, that's inside of him. That wisecracking dude is in there. So, and it could be taken from his influences, and he's just regurgitating that. But at the same time, it's got to be a part of him to come out that much. And like the characters of Jay and Silent Bob, that's clearly him.
That's his outlet to be able to kind of vent. He vents through those characters, those wisecracking, super intelligent characters. That's him letting it out.
And one fun fact about Jay and Silent Bob, he made those deals with Miramax and sold Clerks to Miramax, and then all the other movies to the Weinsteins. But he kept Jay and Silent Bob as his own. Like I guess he always saw a future for them, which, the proof is in the pudding because they were in almost all of his movies, and they even have their own very successful spinoff. So, could you do that? Could you make yourself just like let's say you write a movie and you're going to be in it. Would you be able to just be the silent dude to just stand?
I would have to be, because I can't act. So that's my only option.
I guess he does deliver that one super poignant line at the very end. But what do you think of this quick rundown on these characters? What do you think of Brody?
Brody was awesome. Like I said, he stole the show. He was even though he may not have been, supposed to be the main character, I feel like it should have been based upon the story, TS, but he was definitely
I think it is him.
It was him for me anyway. It was all about Brody.
I feel the same way. He's just from the fact that which I think he said, Kevin said he takes from Walt Flanagan, used to make a coffee cup last an entire day, but carries around that one little bitty coffee cup. And then the sex sound thing is one of my favorite things. No, I think that's a little bit too personal. TS.
Yeah, he was a non-event for me. I mean, he's the super hot guy in the movie. That's what I feel about him. That's his place. I don't think he really brought. I mean, he could have been played by anybody who was attractive and didn't steal the show from Brody.
Keanu Reeves is. I mean, Jay and Silent Bob, we really need to touch on them there. Like I love the idea of them though, because they have these events that make them become they slowly throughout all these movies and cameos, because they did Degrassi, Scream, etc., slowly make them legendary. Mm-hmm. It's just awesome. What do you think about them?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, they're like, I don't know, they're like the cornerstone of his movies. I feel like, if they weren't in there, it'd be like watching a Disney movie and not seeing a little Mickey Mouse emblem somewhere. It's like, where's Jay and Silent Bob?
Yeah, I think it was funny when I was watching the Mallrats trailer when he does the swing wearing the Batman hat. Jay's like, "Fly, fat ass, fly." And the trailer, he's like, "Fly, badass, fly."
Yeah.
I wonder if that was like, if the version I saw was re-edited, or
it's possible. You could have just changed it. Which one are you? Are you Silent Bob or are you Jay?
I talk way too much. Snooch, 9. As much as I would want to be that silent guy, because my memory is shite and I don't know if I can remember the lines like I should. I enjoy like the antics of Jay, and kudos to him. He, a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, had 10 years of sobriety, maybe 11.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Far reach from the Jay character.
Yeah. not everybody comes back from that. So the fact that that's a whole different kind of success.
Oh yeah. Ben Affleck.
Yeah, I hated his character so much, but I love that he was in it because I hated him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a Ben Affleck fan. I don't want to say I hate his movies because I love Good Will Hunting, and that's when he turned around for me. I mean, I think he was amazing.
Co-wrote, directed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not overly excited about, him as Batman. I'm not overly excited about Daredevil. I don't hate him, but I'm not crazy about it, But Good Will Hunting, he won me over in that, so he can not do no wrong, but I can forgive any mistakes because he was in such a good movie.
And the one you liked, I think you liked The Accountant?
Yeah, he was okay in that. I mean, it was a good movie. It was definitely a good movie, but it wasn't Good Will Hunting.
No.
That's the one.
Kevin and Scott, I think, produced. So, but yeah. I'm trying to think here because I like Ben Affleck, but I'm trying to remember why. And I'm not saying please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's a bad actor because he's not a bad actor.
He's been in some really good films, and I don't want to knock him too hard because I don't want people think I just hate Ben Affleck because he's been in some pretty awesome movies. But
I know I love his role in Armageddon.
Yeah, he just doesn't. For some reason, he just doesn't stand. Like I don't know. Maybe there's a cockiness there that comes through when he's acting. That I always revert back to. Maybe because I've seen him in Mallrats being a jerk. Maybe I just revert back to that or something. I don't like that guy. Maybe that's my problem. I don't know. But he seemed like a nice guy when he was in Good Will Hunting. He looks like that's the kind of buddy you want.
And I was going to say they've teamed up a lot because he was in, of course, Chasing Amy and Dogma.
Yeah. Chasing Amy is probably, I'll go ahead and say it, that's probably my favorite Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one. I don't know why. I think it was just a down-to-earth weirdness of it. Like, it tackled subjects that weren't commonplace, like, her experimenting and him not being okay with it, but then being okay with it and wanting to do it too, and how it ruined everything, and how he later on in life realized that he ruined everything and why. And I don't know. I just feel like that was a really thoughtful piece. So that's probably my favorite one.
And it was a far cry following Mallrats. Like, it was a big time curve. Like, yeah, I really like Chasing Amy, and I actually struggled when I was going to do this. Like, man, Chasing Amy, should that be my first one? Or no, look, got to do Mallrats. But yeah, it's damn good. He actually, during the conversation, he was talking about how that movie may be a little problematic right now, because it was coming from, his Mel's perspective at the time, but
still, that's an honest perspective. Wrong or right, it's.
But you know how this era is.
Yeah, I know. But like I said, wrong or right is genuine. It goes both ways, and then they think crazy stuff about us, and guys think crazy stuff about women. It's never going to change. We're all going to just think the opposite thing about them.
You mean their boobs make milk too? Sorry. What else can you say? I did not pull up Rotten Tomatoes in this one. Did you get my back on this one?
I gotcha. You want to know the tomato meter?
Help me out here.
It's not a huge success from the critics. It's a 56%.
Yeah.
But let me read the audience score. It's an 82%. So that tells you most of the people who would go to see this movie anyway. This is what they were looking for, and they got exactly what they wanted. So, and I agree.
Yeah, because I think it did do poorly, in its theatrical release for that reason. Because critics,
that's not always a sign of success, though.
No.
I mean, sometimes, like you said, it touched you somewhere in there, and it grew, and that's what it's about. I mean, it's not for everybody. It's for a niche group of people.
And which he learned, which made me happy. He learned that in his career, and now he makes what he wants to make, because he used to rely heavily on those critic reviews And I think that's because of his, growing up so much in film, he thought that's what it took to make it. But then after Zack and Mary bombed the way it did, he had a big time change. I'm sorry, I can go on and on about Kevin. What were you saying?
No, you're right. Preach on.
But I can't go this episode without pointing out the fact that he created, and it may existed before him, but this is the first time I heard of it, the most grotesque thing to do to someone you want to punish that I've ever heard. The stink palm. Dear Lord, why God?
There was something similar in another movie. I can't remember which movie it was. And the guy, or it might have been a TV show or something. Who knows what I was watching? Where they did something similar where the guy reaches into his pants, but before he put some peanut butter down in there. So he grabs some of the peanut butter and he scoops it out and he shows it. I think it was like a judge. He shows it to the judge and he licks his fingers clean. So everybody's probably thinking that's the most disgusting thing ever. But he was just eating peanut butter. I always like that.
Yeah, and it's just the scene of Michael Rooker getting down on those pretzels.
I've never seen anybody that was that addicted to pretzels before. I'll admit, chocolate-covered pretzels are delicious, but oh my God, I've never seen anybody just snatch a bag from somebody and just start wolfing them down.
Just licking and oh man, yeah. But yes, that is Mallrats, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know how you feel. Please let us know how you feel about this one, because, like I said, this one and Kevin are near and dear to my heart. And like I said, the only reason that I am doing this is because I don't think if I hadn't found Smodcast on that iPod all those years ago, that I would be doing podcasting. I would have just been listening to some NPR. But yeah, that's our first Directors Appreciation Month episode. Next week is Robert's Choice. And I'm excited for that too, because this is a fun month. We get to do some stuff, some out of the ordinary movies that we wouldn't normally talk about, but clearly they are near and dear to our hearts. I didn't say go watch or not for you, sir.
Absolutely go watch. It's a lot of fun. And like I said, I took a trip down memory lane, so in a good way. It wasn't like a bad trip or anything. It was a good trip. So absolutely go watch.
Yeah, I don't even think I need to say anything. I think you should go watch his entire catalog, even Tusk. So there. I guess now people trash yoga hosers, but it's always one movie of his that people find and they cling to. And then later on it's like, oh, that was amazing. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But where you can find us at gowatchthemovie.com, the one-stop shop for all things entertainment, and on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, anywhere a podcast can be played, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Join in on the fun there. We're always posting something fun. Trailers are there and everything else. And that's everything. That's episode 144. I'm Kelvin.
And I'm Robert.
Go watch a movie. Grab your popcorn, rip that ticket, get in that seat, lickety split it. Go watch a movie.